Shadow is helplessly incapable of escaping the one the world revolves around, for it is his world, and Sonic's world never stops spinning. Shadow also thinks Sonic is following him, but he must remember shadows are irrefutably bound to their host. Shadows tell you where to find the light, and he is Sonic's beloved Shadow. Shadow is frustrated that his vulnerable inner depths can be reached by Sonic, for he is distracting as he lures him away from his mission. Sonic sees Shadow for who he is time and time again, knowing Shadow's actions speak louder than words. Sonic doesn't see himself through the eyes of others. He views Shadow as a hero, unlike himself. Shadow is the other's eyes, and sees Sonic for who he really is, a powerful hero, unlike himself, and a force to be reckoned with. Ah, yes! A peek into my Gay Hedgehog Reality! Hey, hi, and hello, it's closing time, and today I'd like to talk about what Sonadow means to me.
It'll be a date to die for.
Hey! That's my line!
So a year and some months ago now, I was broken up with for the first time. This sounds unrelated, but I'm going somewhere with this, trust me, it'll make a good segue, I swear! Anyways, during the relationship, I feared becoming quote-unquote more cringe than I already was, and that my partner at the time would leave me if that happened. Yep, it's as ridiculous as it sounds, and as a result, I avoided reading fanfiction for years. With that context in mind, when I was eventually broken up with, I stopped caring, and that same night, I was reading fanfic for the first time. But not just any fanfic. Sonadow fanfic. Basically, my point for sharing this, well, other than I think it's funny, is to say Sonadow on a personal level helped me feel liberated. That liberation allowed me to get to a point in my life where I can choose to be quote-unquote cringe rather than boring and live my life how I see fit. I would rather die putting myself out there, expressing myself, than be boring and live my life in fear, especially when I'll never know when there won't be a tomorrow. I think being able to persevere is essential to being able to express yourself. And here's where I fully loop-de-loop around back to Sonadow. Perseverance!
Man, you must really hate having to admit you need me.
Rivals to Lovers is popular for many reasons. More conflict, nuance, more romantic tension, plenty of pre-existing chemistry, maybe some witty banter, usually applying to the opposites attract trope, and so forth. Sometimes even the clashing of the rivals or enemies in question itself serves a metaphorical purpose and can express meaningful ideas or create nuance. All of these ideas make the trope great fun. That being said, my favorite aspect of Rivals to Lovers is the perseverance, or rather persistence involved. Despite their conflicts, differences, and flaws, they do love each other and are good for each other in the end, even when it feels like they shouldn't be. You know, see, the example for Sonic and Shadow would be like, despite Sonic and Shadow's disagreements on how to go about a situation, they will always end up working together again. Regardless of their past conflicts, they don't hate each other. They respect each other, and most of all, they care about and understand each other. No matter how cold Shadow can be, Sonic will always see Shadow for who he is, a caring hedgehog and hero whose actions speak louder than his words, time and time again. Even though Sonic may distract and tease Shadow, Shadow truly does care about Sonic's well-being, and sees Sonic for who he is, a hero. Simply put, their dynamic is wonderful. The perseverance involved makes the ship and trope extremely enjoyable for me. It's truly compelling stuff, and I know I'm not alone in thinking that given even just how popular Sonadow is. Although, when anything is this popular, there will be a really loud group who hates it too. When it comes to people who hate the ship, typically it boils down to the comparison. You see, when I think of Sonadow, I'm thinking of the beauty of yin and yang, and when the haters think of Sonadow, they think about a relationship equivalent to an avalanche. It's all a matter of perspective, I suppose. Basically, just live and let live, and if you can't at least do that, live and learn. Am I right? Two rivals being in a romantic relationship is far from a traditional romance, yet that's exactly what makes it so special. Sonic and Shadow reflect each other perfectly despite their differing personalities, plus The I try to do no harm and I take no crap narrative foils are just such an addictively fun dynamic. A lot of their dynamic relies on Sonic seeing Shadow for who he is and getting up close and personal. Their relationship is already one of an intimate understanding of each other and care for one another with a competitive nature. So truly, all it would really take to potentially be a romance is for Shadow to open up and break down the walls he's put up enough for Sonic to get in. And then also for them to, like, both want to kiss, but that's obvious though. To me, the best ships are the ones where at first they seem like an odd pairing, usually because there's nuance and development throughout the story, but after you analyze them and cross the barrier between the surface level, you realize just how good they are for each other. And of course, by extension, how good they could be romantically. For example, Shadow in some more emotional aspects thinks he is inferior to Sonic, while in others, they are confident enough to compete for who is better. Sonic sees this and as a result tries to remind Shadow that he too is equal to him in those aspects and truly is a good person. However, Shadow is found to be rejecting the notion often. Despite Sonic's disappointment when Shadow doesn't accept what he is saying, he continues to watch over him with a hopeful, helpful smile. The most prominent showcases of this are in the Sonic x Shadow wallpaper cover story and Sonic Battle, which are definitely some of my favorite moments between Sonic and Shadow. My point here is that you would never even know this part of their dynamic by just looking at them on the surface as just enemies. You have to dig deeper, see them in a nuanced way, and care enough to get the essential information to understand and analyze their inner workings. These are the ships I enjoy most, the ones you can analyze to fully understand, the dynamics that keep on giving. This is the kind of media, characters, and ships I adore. I love getting to analyze nuance, enjoy fun dialogue, be touched by compelling meanings, and feel liberated. This is what Sonadow means to me.
Probably gonna regret that.
I heart you too, Shadow.
Before the video fully comes to a close, I'd like to display a small tribute to some of the specific moments Sonic and Shadow share together, showcasing rather than describing my point that their tender relationship is competitive, thrilling, fun, and is a special dynamic one last time before the conclusion. Although please do note there may be spoilers within this section, so if you're worried about that, you can skip to the conclusion. And without further ado, here we go! This first one is from that Sonic Channel calendar story I mentioned earlier. Therefore, since it's originally in Japanese, I will be using Wendy's translation, so please check her out. I will only be reading off a specific moment, so if you would like to check it out in its entirety for yourself, a link will be in the description. Why do you keep following me? Shadow, walking down a deserted back lane off Mission Street, asks Sonic, who follows him with a grin on his face, without looking back. Sonic, too, puts his hands behind his head and looks away into the night sky as he asks him back. I'm the one who wants to know why. Since when did you become the guy who secretly works for everyone's peace? I am not interested in peace. I don't care what happens to others. I just can't stand it when foolish beings do whatever they please on this planet, whether it's the doctor or anyone else, including you. Don't get the wrong idea. A few seconds of silence followed. Shadow is pouting, and Sonic is still grinning. Okay, gotcha. I'll try to be careful, but I think there are a lot of people who would like to thank you for what you did today. That's nonsense. Exasperated, Shadow finally stopped in his tracks and turned back to Sonic as if to tell him to shut up and... Huh? There, with the distant lights of the city in the background, Sonic stood with his right arm outstretched pointing toward the night sky while looking toward Shadow, and the full moon shining brightly where he pointed. They could also see the space colony Ark floating just above it, looking down at them. In the midst of the transcendental scene, Shadow couldn't help but gasp at the sight of the Ark, which looked almost divine in the moonlight from below. The Ark of hope and mistakes, This is the place where Shadow was once born, where he gained and lost so much of his precious things and time, a ruin floating in the vacuum, where too many things were given up to protect this planet. Once a year, due to the orbital alignment of the satellites, there is a night when the Ark can be seen directly above the full moon. Mission Street was one of the best places to see it, and the celestial show of two cold, dignified moons floating in a sea of warm city lights was Sonic's favorite. Shadow looks up at the Ark in silence. No one knows how much memory and truth is left in his heart about what happened in the past, or what he is thinking now, but this silence seemed to be the answer to Sonic. As if in response, Sonic slowly lowered his hand. As Shadow followed this meaningful movement with his eyes, Sonic pointed his hand directly at his own face and smirked. Ridiculous! As he snapped, Shadow straddled a motorcycle that was behind a thicket on the side of the road. It is a big military motorcycle. It must have been prepared here in advance. The engine roared as if to reject Sonic's attempts to say something. The second one's redundant. He drives off at full throttle. Sonic, seeing him off without chasing him, had his usual grin on his face, but he also looked somewhat disappointed. Shadow! Sonic the Hedgehog, where is Emerald? He's at Tails' place. Tell me something, why are you after him anyway? I'm not here to steal him. I'm here to welcome him, as a fellow weapon of war. Welcome him? Haven't you noticed? His awakening as the legendary weapon of war Gizoid is close at hand. Awakening? He already has 6 Chaos Emeralds, right? Yeah, and with my Chaos Emerald, that makes 7. The Gizoid will be awakened when it has collected 7 Chaos Emeralds. Right now, its true power lies dormant. However, I can feel it. I can feel the power. A power greater than you can imagine. I've heard that he who collects 7 Chaos Emeralds will be granted unlimited energy. So are you trying to tell me that awakening Emerald is dangerous? Dangerous? Huh! He's a weapon. One created with enough power to destroy the world. Awakening him is sheer madness. I don't think he has it in him. The Emerald I know would never destroy the world. What about you? You say he's the ultimate weapon, but weren't you supposed to be the military's ultimate secret weapon? Maybe you've forgotten, but I seem to recall you saving humanity at some point. That was for Maria. Exactly! If you have a heart, you would never use your power for the forces of evil. There's no way you could. Weapons aren't supposed to have hearts, but both you and Emerald do. You guys aren't just weapons. No, you are wrong. We were created as weapons. If the people of this world ever want peace, they must destroy us. Shadow! And one more thing. Rouge said that there's a keyword that can free Emerald. If we could find out what it is, Emerald could become just a normal robot. Huh, such hopeless dreams. Weapons have no need for a conscience. Freedom? What use is a weapon that does not follow orders? I have a different kind of link with a Gizoid. Like me, he's a weapon, no doubt about it. He's a weapon to be used by his master. Shadow. Alright. Just take Emerald already. If you're not going to listen to me, then do whatever you want. Yeah, then you don't care if I exterminate Emerald? I'd like to see you try. You don't think I could? You have a heart. Emerald has a heart. I don't think either of you has it in you to kill. Maybe you guys should just play games together or something? There is a Chaos Emerald here. Emerald, what are you doing here? He probably felt my Chaos Emerald's power. I can feel it resonating with him. You have a Chaos Emerald. Give me the Emerald. Power! Give me power! Emerald! What's wrong, Sonic? Why are you looking at me like that? Perhaps now you believe me. He was created as a weapon. You were lucky in that you met him before he was awakened, but you cannot deny the Gizoid's true identity. Sonic? Go with Shadow Emerald! I want you to find out who you truly are. How? How else? Get Eggman to tell you. That chubby old guy? That sounds like fun. I'll be right back then. Okay, and try to find out what that guy is up to. See if you can find out more about that final something or other that Knuckles was talking about. You never can tell what that old man is planning. I too have things that I wish to speak to Dr. Eggman about. Let's go, Emerald. So begin your path to ruin.
Why are you getting in my way?
I'm Shadow. Shadow the Hedgehog.
You never cease to surprise me, Blue Hedgehog. I thought that capsule you were in exploded in space.
You know, what can I say? I die hard. You actually saved me, you know.
It was a Chaos Emerald, wasn't it? But there's no way you could have activated the Chaos Control using an emerald that's fake. So, there's more to you than just looking like me. What are you, anyway?
What you see is what you get. Just a guy that loves adventure. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog.
I see. But you know, I can't let you live. Your adventuring days are coming to an end.
Nice hustle, but I won this one. So I'm taking the emerald. See ya!
I finally find you, and what do I see? Sonic defeating you. What happened?
I will beat him on equal terms, or not at all.
Sayonara, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Well, hey, looks like somebody made it to the conclusion. Good job. Unfortunately, I couldn't have possibly talked about every little detail I love about Sonadow, as we would be here all year. However, I hope I've done a good job accomplishing my goal of expressing what makes this pairing so important to me. As the video comes to a close, I'd like to shout out Voiced by Mandy's Sonadow Iceberg video and Kameno O's Sonadow essays. Without their videos, I wouldn't have had the courage to create my own Sonadow essay video, and therefore I am truly grateful. And if I pronounce their usernames wrong in any way, I'm sorry. Thank you so much for getting this far into the video. If you haven't yet considered subscribing or liking the video, maybe do so as it helps me a lot, and have a wonderful rest of your day, night, or afternoon.
I love you. Now you set my soul on fire.